Hello. I hope it's okay. I just came through this, oh, just closed.
Welcome everyone to another action figure review, as I have the Hasbro Marvel Legends, the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, so the Tobey Maguire edition, part of the new Spider-Man No Way Home wave, which has been released as a solo edition this time. Of course, we have the Peter Parker head sculpt, which we have been waiting for because after the summer release of the No Way Home 3-pack, which was anticipated, a lot of people wanted those unmasked looks. If you exclude the 3-pack, I think this is also a highly anticipated figure because it's been a while since we've had any sort of 1/12 scale Raimi-verse Spider-Man. I think since the Toy Biz edition, which was over 20 years ago. So it's been far too long, which is kind of surprising. I guess maybe a lot of companies didn't have licensing for it, or for whatever reason, they just never did one. So after No Way Home, of course, a lot of companies have started to give us this character once again. And if we take a look at the back of the box, we have the photo as well. So I may actually keep this background just because of how good this looks. So let's open up the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man and take a closer look. And here is the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man inside its packaging. So here is a first look at the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man right out of its packaging. And it's the first time I'm holding on to the Tobey Maguire edition as a Marvel Legends in hand, since I never bought the 3-pack. But I have been watching countless of the reviews. I've seen a lot of the photos as well, both for the 3-pack version and the solo edition before buying this. And I'll say that nothing really surprises me in terms of this look. The overall sculpts, the paint, the proportions, just everything about this is what I kind of expected. But I guess when I see this in person, the overall paint job is a lot better. For some reason, when I'm watching the reviews, maybe because of the lighting, it seems very bright to me in terms of the red and blues. But seeing it in person, I think it does look really good. And even the silver lines, I think in some of the reviews, they look really bright. But seeing it in person, I know the lighting here isn't the brightest, but definitely seeing it in my own eyes is not as bad as I thought. Definitely, I think they've done a decent job in terms of the paint. And overall, I do like the look of this. I know a lot of people say that this looks like a younger version of Tobey Maguire. I guess they could have a reason to say that, but for me, it still kind of reminds me of the No Way Home edition, simply because of the shorter hairstyle. In the original movies, he had like a long fringe. But I guess they kind of could have added a bit more tone and features around the face, just to give him an overall older look. But I guess I'm kind of okay with it. So yeah, everything about this I think is kind of what I expected. So right out of the packaging, you can see it has the fisted arms. We have a wall crawling hand. So in the original 3-pack, there was a bit more of the alternative hands. This one, you're not going to get as many. And for me, this is still the best like live action suit of Spider-Man. Just for me personally, I think it looks the most menacing and does bring back a lot of memories. So I think the nostalgia does play a part to it. But no doubt this is kind of my favorite looking Spider-Man in the movies. Next up, we can take a look at the alternative accessories, of course starting off with the head sculpt. One thing I didn't mention in the Amazing Spider-Man review is that for Hasbro Marvel Legends, they don't really seem to have like an alternative neck when the armrest look is on. So for example, the SH Figuarts one, when you have the armrest look, you can also switch up the neck as well, just to show a bit of skin to be a bit more realistic. But I guess it's something that Hasbro don't really do. It is a small matter, but it's just something I wanted to point out. And then we can switch it up with the mask look, which of course gives him the full Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man look from the original trilogy. The only thing I would say is that this figure doesn't stand that well, at least not out of the packaging. Maybe I do need to loosen up the joints and play around with the articulation. So that's the armrest look, which I still think is the best live action Spider-Man suit. It just looks a lot more menacing. So let's switch up the alternative hands, which they do include one set. So just like the Amazing Spider-Man, they include the web shooter ones. So in the original 3-pack box, I believe there were 3 sets. So this one only has 2 sets. And this is a very common, I guess, alternative hands to have for any Spider-Man figure from Hasbro. So one thing I do want to mention is that this one does not include any webs. They just didn't include it, which they did in the free pack. So if you do have that set, I guess that may be the better one in terms of the Spider-Man. The only bonus for this one is, I guess, you get the unmasked Peter Parker look. So yeah, this is the alternative hands, and now we can take a look at the articulation. So now we can test out the articulation, which is a very important aspect for any Spider-Man figure. So starting off with the head sculpt, it can turn left and right, rotates round and round 360, and you can also tilt it left and right, no problem. Downwards motion slightly, upwards this much, it's also slightly. For the neck, it is a separate part to the body, but I don't really see much movement there. And then for the arms, they stretch side to side, very standard, and then they move forwards, upwards, backwards, rotates round and round. You can see there is plenty of backwards motion and also forwards, which is good for those web shooter poses. And there's also a bicep swivel, and also the arm bend this much, which is quite a lot. And there's rotation on the hands, and there's a small hinge as well. And then for the body, upper torso, full rotation if you want, side to side, very smooth, backwards this much, and then the forwards motion. And then for the waist, there is no waist swivel, just the way it's built, kind of like the Amazing Spider-Man version, but you can move it downwards and also backwards, very far back for that pose. And then for the legs, they kick forwards, backwards, side to side, no problem. It's kind of standard rotation on the thigh. And there's also a bend for the knees, which is a bit stiff out of the packaging, so be very careful. And then there's slight movement on the foot, at least upwards and downwards. And now for the size comparisons next to the other companies of the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, with the Toy Biz version on the left and the SH Figuarts version on the right, as well as next to the Toy Biz version of Green Goblin and Mary Jane. And here it is next to some Hasbro Marvel Legends with Ned Leeds and MJ. And here it is next to the SH Figuarts versions of the Spider-Mans from No Way Home with the Integrated Suit Final Battle Edition and the Amazing Spider-Man. And finally, here it is next to the Hasbro Marvel Legends Spider-Mans from No Way Home with the original Integrated Suit Edition and the solo version of the Amazing Spider-Man. And one final look of the Marvel Legends versions of the Spider-Mans with the unmasked looks. And here is a comparison look of the unmasked Peter Parker head sculpt with the SH Figuarts version. And for a bonus, here is the unmasked head sculpt placed on a comic version of Peter Parker to give him that youth pastel look. So now for my final thoughts on the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, the Marvel Legends version for Spider-Man No Way Home. This is overall a good addition, since this time we do have the unmasked look. The suit is fine, maybe the paint could be darker, but it is a lot better in person than on camera. And even though the free pack probably has the better figure overall with more hands and webs, you do have to buy the other two, and of course you don't have the Peter Parker look. For me personally, the SH Figuarts is a lot better with more detail on the sculpt, more hands, more webs, more head sculpts, and even better articulation. So I was really getting this for the custom civilian look. But if you don't have the SH Figuarts version or the Marvel Legends free pack, this is a decent figure to add to your collection, since it has been a while since the Toy Biz one was released. And even though this does lack the webs and a pair of hands like a wall crawling set, I will give this a 7 out of 10. It just needed more accessories and a smoother articulation. Comment down below which is your favourite Spider-Man No Way Home figure released so far. Stay tuned for more, and thanks for watching.